support without the support of the SEEK program and the help of Baruch College. So with that being said, on our screen here is a list of the panelists that we have here today. So between each group of panelists, we will have a 10-minute Q&A session. So students, you will be able to ask any of the questions that may come up. So now I will pass it off to Christy Perez, our SEEK director, to give opening remarks.
Thank you, Dalia. Welcome, everyone. It's great to have you here with us this afternoon. I first want to acknowledge all the organizers and presenters for this important and powerful event. It is always our commitment to ensure that all of you have an opportunity to see what additional opportunities, particularly experiential opportunities, are available to you beyond and outside of the classroom experience. So I want to thank you all, and I look forward to hearing from our presenters.
Thank you, Christy. So now we're going to move on to introducing our first line of presenters. So our first lineup of presenters starts with Sarah Demetz, who is the coordinator for the Global Student Certificate Program and is also working with Work Abroad and the International Business major at the Weizmann Center for International Business. Next, we have Valerie Jaimes, who's the Deputy Director for the Office of National and Prestigious Fellowship Advising. And last but not least, we have Janet Rosbach, who is the Director of Alumni Relations and Volunteer Engagement. So now I'm going to pass it off to Sarah to begin her presentation.
All right, thank you so much, Talia. Yes, so my role at the Weizmann Center is tripartite. And one of the things I want to talk to you today about is the Global Student Certificate Program. So this program is a one-year program, so it's a year-long, an academic year. And in this program, we explore how cultures affect doing business in the globalized economy. So something that Baruch students are frequently interested in. And you are eligible to apply for this program if you are a sophomore or above, so all of you should be eligible for that. If you are attending Baruch in both the fall and the spring semesters, because it is a full year program, and if you have a 2.75 or above. So we are interested in having students from any major, and we love having SEEK students in the program. In fact, the biggest bubble there, the student right in front, that's Esteban Santana. He was a SEEK student from a couple of years ago, one of our most outstanding students in the program. So we love having SEEK students there. It's a nice way to get extra training and practice on intercultural issues, because we will have seminars and workshops on things like multicultural team building, how to work in teams with people from other cultures, or cross-cultural negotiating when there's the added element of cross-cultural issues. We'll also take, once it opens again, we'll take a tour of the UN. That's a highlight of our program every year. And we'll also send you out into the city to attend events around the city, cultural events. So you might go to a Brazilian dance performance or an Indian drum performance, or you might hear a lecture on the Korean economy pre and post World Cup, something like that. So you can get a little better sense of what's going on in the world around you. And the program will pay for your entry into all of these events. The program is completely free to you. At the end of the year, you will receive a certificate saying that you have completed the Global Student Certificate Program, which you can use in the way that you want to. A lot of students will choose to put the GSC on their resume, either under leadership or educational experience. You can kind of decide how you relate to the program and how you want to describe what it is. We'll also be doing some research on the business culture of a particular country and some writing reflections on the things that you've learned. So by the end of the year, you'll have a series of written record of what you've been learning over the year. So you can go back and take a look at that and also use it for writing samples for graduate school applications or internship applications, things like that. So we try to hit a lot of buttons there. The application will be released in early September of next year. So you can take a look for it in the beginning of the academic year. It's a simple application, one-page application. Get that to me and we will get the program started generally around October 1st. And we finish up around a week before classes begin a week before exams begin in May. So we're wrapping up the program for this year. All right, next slide, please. I also work with students who are interested in interning abroad, in working abroad, either most of the time through internships. That's what most students want to do. So that's what we will generally talk about. But it could also be volunteering, teaching English abroad, or regular work. But for the most part, students are looking to intern abroad. And so for that, we have a series of internships, some that we run in the Weissman Center, but also we work with a series of providers to help broaden the breadth of locations that you can go to and fields that you can work in. So if you're interested in interning abroad, generally this is a summer activity. And we hope to be resuming, right now we're not sending anybody abroad for this upcoming summer. For obvious reasons, but we hope to be resuming sending students abroad in person for the summer of 22. So if you're interested in interning abroad, you can come to me. We can talk about what your interests are, and I can help point you towards different directions to gather more information. And then once you've decided on a program, I can also help get you funding to do this. We have a fellowship called the CV Star International Experiential Learning Fellowship. I couldn't have chosen a shorter name, but this fellowship is intended to defray the costs and the expenses of doing an internship abroad, including flight and food and housing, program fees for the program, and any other expenses that you may have. Okay. We are, while I'm talking about this, we will be running virtual international internships for the summer. So if you are interested in working remotely for a company abroad, come to me for this upcoming summer. And we can also get you some funding to do that as well. So we've had students do virtual international internships since last summer and also during the winter and during this spring semester. So that's a possibility too. You can get some international experience on your resume without even having to leave New York. Next slide, please. And the last thing that I want to talk about is a combination experiential learning and academic program, because the international business major combines both of those things. If you're interested in majoring in international business, please reach out to me and we will have an individual advising session, because this is a complex major with a lot of moving parts. But the reason I'm talking about it here is because it includes an international experience. And for most students, that means a semester of study abroad. I won't go into that in detail right now because you're going to be hearing from the study abroad office later today. But generally, you will spend either the spring of your junior year or the fall of your senior year studying abroad in a location of your choice, as well as taking courses in international business, proving or acquiring fluency in a foreign language, and also completing an associated business minor in either marketing or finance for this program. It is the only major at Baruch that you have to apply and be admitted to. Okay, so you must apply to the program. I manage that application, so please come talk to me. If you're interested in international business, or if your friends are, if your classmates are, please send them to me so we can have an individual advising session so we can make the best plan for you. It's a wonderful major. It's very compelling. It is rigorous, but I know Sikh students have often risen to the occasion there. Thanks so much. That's all.
Thank you so much, Sarah. And I would just love to echo the specific program that she just said, which was being able to intern abroad. She's still looking for students to do that. So I hope you're taking note about that and definitely write down her contact information if you're interested in that. So now I'm going to pass it off to Valerie, who's going to talk about the Office of National and Prestigious Fellowship Advising.
Thank you so much. You can put it to the next slide, please. Great, thank you. So welcome everyone. So excited to be here to talk to you about the resources and opportunities offered through the Office of National Prestigious Fellowships Advising. A lot of times when students come to me for the first time, I think the question that is most on their mind initially is, what is a fellowship? And I like to say, and my colleagues have heard me say this before, that a fellowship is money to do something amazing. There are literally hundreds of different types of fellowships that fund lots of different types of experiences, and we're going to talk about that a little bit more in a moment. So my role at Baruch is to help students explore different funding options through fellowships, to identify those that are a good fit for their goals, and to help them develop their applications to be competitive. Now, when we're talking about national fellowships, we do mean that. These are particular opportunities that fund amazing experiences, but they are candidates from all over the country are eligible to apply, and in some cases, all over the world. So they are nationally or even in some cases globally competitive. They're not opportunities that are funded or specific to Baruch students or to CUNY students, with a few small exceptions here and there. And so, they can be something that students aren't even aware exist and that are, could help them fund things like study abroad, et cetera. So my office, again, helps students sort of develop their candidate potential. Like most of these applications have essays and letters of recommendation. So I help you kind of consider how to present yourself in the essays, how to connect with faculty who will be writing your letters of recommendation, and then also navigating the online application systems. I give essay review and guidance. So when you find something that you want to apply for, I work with students on those applications. And here is my website address so you can get even more information. So let's go to the next slide and let's talk about what some of this looks like. So all of this, I'm talking a lot about, these applications that you need to make, letters of recommendations that you need to get, but like what are the funding opportunities? There are nationally competitive fellowships that fund things like study abroad, and many international business majors, as Sarah was just describing, who all go to study abroad, have received scholarships for study abroad. We're talking about things like the Gilman Scholarship, the Fund for Education Abroad, the Freeman Asia Scholarship. These are all scholarships that Baruch students have won in recent years to help them fund their study abroad experiences. And these programs are funded by external organizations such as the U.S. Department of State. I know you're going to get more information on study abroad a little later, but just so you know, if you get really excited about the opportunity to study abroad and you're worried about the finances, there are scholarships to help with that. And my office advises students on applying for them. And certainly many SEEK students in the past have won some of these awards. There are other wonderful fellowship opportunities to fund things like professional development and internships, things like the Jeanette K. Watson Fellowship, which is something that first year and second year students can apply for to gain funding for 3 paid summer internships, one of which must be abroad, to help them experience and expand their potential across different fields. There are fellowships to learn another language in an immersive cultural environment. There are fellowships that fund research experiences. There are fellowships for community and civic engagement, both during your undergraduate your time as well as postgraduate. There are fellowships to fund graduate school. So if you're a junior or senior thinking about what comes next for you after Baruch, there are really wonderful opportunities to help fund international experiences or even graduate school funding. And there are a lot of fellowships that also fund teaching abroad, a lot of programs that fund English teaching abroad as well. In fact, I would say that students who start looking at these opportunities in their sophomore and junior year are really setting themselves up for success when it comes to making these applications and being sure to apply by the deadlines. For example, there are several fellowships that are for the 2022-2023 academic year for postgraduate study, which have application deadlines that are due this September, which is a year in advance before you actually go. And so those students who are eligible need to actually start working on those applications now. So many of these programs are rigorous and really require a lot of forward thinking. Don't be in the situation where you're graduating at the end of the semester and that's the first time you come to my office and start talking about some of these, because you'll likely miss deadlines, but at the same time you'll not have something set up for after graduation. So the earlier you make connection with my office to explore these opportunities, the better. And on this slide, there's the URL for Baruch Searchable Fellowships Directory. So you can go and search by these, you can search for funding for study abroad. You can search for community civic engagement fellowships. You can get a list of opportunities that might match your goals. Next slide, please. So lastly, this is just a recap of some of the resources that my office has. when I say my office, it is an office of one. It is just me. And I serve all students at Baruch across all three schools, undergraduate level as well as graduate level. So if you're looking for an unusual experience to study abroad or gain professional development or do research or thinking about what comes after your time here at Baruch when you graduate, please reach out to me. I have various information sessions every semester where I talk about some of these opportunities in depth. In fact, all of those are recorded now and they're on my website. You can go and you can learn more about them. I meet with students individually by appointment, so you feel free to email me at this email to set up a time for us to just talk about your goals and what you want to do and what kind of fellowships might be a good match. I just want to clarify one thing because sometimes it can be confusing. Sometimes students come to me looking for scholarship funding to help them cover their expenses at Baruch, and that actually isn't the role that my office plays at Baruch. That is the financial aid and the Office of Scholarships within financial aid. So these are funding opportunities to help, expand your personal, cultural, and professional development. So they're things that are in addition to kind of your undergraduate studies at Baruch. But there is money for graduate schools through some of these. So if that's what you're thinking, certainly reach out. Let's talk. And that's really the best way for me to help you to get to know you and your interests and to identify programs that are a good match for those. So I look forward to your questions in the Q&A. Thank you.
Thank you, Valeria. So just to emphasize what she just said about graduate school funding, it is very hard to get graduate school funding sometimes because there isn't a system of financial aid sometimes. So definitely utilize her. I personally need to utilize her myself because I plan to study abroad soon. So, or hopefully I can do it soon. So just now we're going to hand it off to Janet Rosbach, who is from Alumni Relations.
Thank you so much for having me. Good afternoon, everyone. The Office of Alumni Relations and Volunteer Engagement is primary goal is to support our 160,000 alumni who live around the world in about 113 countries. We host a number of different programs, events for their lifelong learning. But our second priority is to provide opportunities for alumni to come back and talk to you and help share their expertise in a variety of different ways. And we have a number of different programs that we offer. Executives on Campus is the Center of Mentoring at Baruch. We have a variety of different programs. Our academic year-long program, AYLMP, is available only for juniors and first-year graduate students. So those of you who are rising juniors, please keep your eyes out for information over the course of late spring, early fall in order to apply for this program. We usually try to match about 300 students with about an equivalent number of mentors. I wish we could do more, so this is a competitive program. It's important to be prepared to spend an hour a month with your mentor. And we have been running this program virtually all this past year, and we anticipate it will be virtual through the fall. So please keep your eyes peeled for that program. Second, the next slide, please. Thank you so much. We have also been hosting virtual mentoring weeks where we have matched students with mentors. These are open to all Baruch students. And once again, we try to match about 300 students with about 300 mentors. These happen in November, March, and May. We actually are waiting to see if we will be doing our virtual mentoring week this June. And if so, we're getting a new software that we want to have working in having good shape. So we're doing it a little bit late this year. Eventually, we look forward to transitioning back to in-person and these events becoming what we call Mentor for a Morning and Mentor for an Evening, where once again, about 300 students and maybe about 150 mentors have 3 different 45-minute sessions in person. This lower left picture shows how we take over the 14th floor for these speed mentoring conversations. We also have a variety of events called Job Smart, which are specific opportunities where Baruch alumni and other executives come, as well as career coaches, and talk about relevant career development tips and tricks that are open to the entire student body. So Executives on Campus has its own office. Once again, we look forward to being on campus at some point. But in the meantime, if you'll go to the next slide, please. Executives on Campus at baruch.cuny.edu is the way to communicate with the program. And my colleague, Kimberly Chu, regrets that she wasn't able to be here, but she really looks forward to getting to know you and having more SEEK students involved with Executives on Campus. We have a second brief presentation about some other programs that we do. This is from the broader Office of Alumni Relations and Volunteer Engagement. We like to say that graduation isn't goodbye, and that there are lots of programs available for our alumni, just as SEEK and the Office of Student Life offers programs to you while you're students. This is we continue to offer over 100 events a year for our alumni. Next slide, please. So as I mentioned, we have a volunteer interest page where alumni sign up and say that they're interested in mentoring through Executives on Campus, speaking to student clubs. So if any of you are active with student club, our office is a resource to you, and we can work with you on identifying speakers, as well as partner with you on student alumni events you're interested in hosting. Next slide, please. Our Baruch and Beyond Roundtable series is a series of 4 events that happen over the course of the year. These have been happening virtually over the last year, and we're anticipating probably virtual in the fall and in person in the spring. Basically, we partner with the Star Career Development Center, and we identify career areas that may be of interest to students who are exploring a variety of different fields that may not be as actively recruiting through STAR, such as accounting and finance. And so we recently had a roundtable dedicated to careers in the arts. We had one dedicated to entrepreneurship for those who want to start their own businesses. And we will be picking those industries over the next several months. We welcome you to let us know if there's a particular area you'd like us to focus on. Next slide, please. And then, as I said, our student relations area, we can help find speakers for any sorts of programs you're involved with, including award recipients. Some of you may get involved with Heritage Month. We've often partnered with Student Life in that space. And we want to hear from you. We know that a lot of students have their own engagement with alumni, and we're here to support you any way we can. Next slide, please. We also, for when you transition to your final semester as a Baruch student, we also have something called the 100 Days Initiative, where we count down the days to the last day of classes. I think we're at maybe day 27 or something like that at this point. We offer a number of different opportunities for students to engage with us through our social media channels. We have a one-stop shop graduation calendar and just provide a number of different events for graduating seniors. So when you are in your senior year, we really look forward to getting to know you. Next slide, please. So please follow us on a variety of social media. My name again is Janet Rosbach. You can email us at alumni@baruch.cuny.edu or me directly at janet.rosbach@baruch.cuny.edu. We're on the 15th floor of the 17 Lex building. We have no idea when we're going to be back in person, but we have been extremely successful in terms of engaging alumni virtually. We've had much higher alumni attendance for our events, and it's so much better to be able to host programs where we don't have to pay for coconut shrimp or book a room on campus months in advance. So we look forward to continuing to doing programs virtually, but then reconvening in person. Thank you so much for your time, and once again for including us in your presentation today.
Thank you so much, Janet. And I would just like to really emphasize some of the points that she made, the mentorship programs and the events that they host. These are such amazing opportunities for you to learn more about things that you may possibly want to do in the future, learn from people themselves of like how they were able to navigate their career. It's honestly such an amazing way that I've personally been able to learn more about maybe the things that I do want to do, but even the things that I don't want to do. So these are all amazing initiatives that you all should take part in. So now I'm going to open the floor for Q&A. So students, if you have questions, please use the raise your hand feature. And if you do not feel comfortable talking on Zoom, you could also utilize the chat. I'm not sure if I see any hands raised.
I have one other thing which I could share.
Oh, yes, please.
Which is that Betty and the whole Seek crew do an amazing job keeping in touch with the students who went through the Seek program. And there are some wonderful Seek alumni events that happen over the course of the year. We know you're not graduating yet, but know that your Seek family will carry with you for however long you want to engage. There's a lot of love in the Seek community, and we want to continue to encourage giving and sharing that love, and when the time comes, giving back and coming and supporting the next generation of Seek students. Thank you.
I honestly love that about the Seek community. And students, if you don't have any questions, maybe one thing that you may want to answer is, are there any programs here that you're going to take advantage of during your time here at Baruch? Does anyone want to study abroad? That's something that's on my list of things that I hope to do before I graduate.
And when students study abroad, I often work with the Study Abroad office to identify alumni in those countries so I can match students with an alum and they can go out for a cup of coffee or cafe or so that there's a friendly face nearby.
I love that. I actually had no idea that that's possible. So thank you so much for adding that. Anna, I see that you have your hand up. You can unmute yourself.
Hi.
Hi.
I was wondering, for the Global Student Certificate Program, like you show us the requirement, but what about kind of the application program? Is there like how the application program looks, the application process looks like?
Okay. You're asking about the application for the Global Student Certificate Program. Is that it?
Yes.
Okay, so the application is not difficult. It is a survey of your name, address, phone number, your class level, your GPA. And then we have you write a little short answer essay on the, I give you a choice of 3 topics, two-page application, 2-page essay on what are the type of things that you're hoping to get out of this program, or the characteristics of a global business person. We really kind of want to see your writing skills because we do focus quite a bit on written communication in the GPA program. So it is not a competitive program necessarily. As long as you fit all the basic requirements, it's very unlikely that you would not be admitted. But I do want you to take that extra step of showing that you're interested and dedicated to the program. That's what it is.
Thank you so much. And I see one person asked, as for study abroad, what is the step-by-step application process like? So we will have presenters from the study abroad office come on our second round of presentations. So if they don't answer that question then, we'll definitely go back to that question. Are there any other questions for the panelists that we have here today, or any programs that you personally want to? Okay, I see one. How are mentees and mentors put together or matched together?
Sure, I'll take that. As part of your application, you identify what industry is of interest to you, and a few other things so that we get to know you a little bit. My colleague Kimberly Chu reads all the applications, and then we try to match primarily by industry, but we've also matched by language. Some students and alumni share a common heritage and have a same language. We also try to match just by sort of that je ne sais quoi, as we say in the international business space. Just a careful review of applications, and we continue to follow up with you throughout the academic year-long mentoring program to make sure that both mentor and mentee are following up on their commitments. And we're always here to answer questions and help in that way. The applications for the our academic year mentoring program will be live probably after in May, and it'll be open until mid-August. And then we are still waiting on our potential June virtual mentoring week. And just keep your eyes peeled. We send out targeted emails. It's also in the Student Life and STAR career emails. I think it may also be in the SEEK emails. So we actively try to communicate with you, and look forward to your participation.
I also wanted to just mention that I put into the chat a document that lists some study abroad scholarships for students, some details, some of the ones that are most common amongst Baruch students in terms of what they're applying for. And I just want to say Baruch students have been very, very competitive, and we've increased our numbers in who's winning these scholarships every year. So definitely take a look at those if you're interested in studying abroad.
Yes, this is the greatest thing about being online. We could actually save it to our computer, so it's not actually, you know, a handout that's being handed out and you might like lose. We can actually save this to our computer, so everyone make sure you save those. Anisha, I see that you have your hand raised. Do you want to unmute?
Yeah, I have a question about Intern Abroad. My question was, what are some of the countries that students entered abroad, and what companies did they enter with?
So basically, you can intern almost anywhere in the world that you find a program that you want to go to. Our most common and frequent ones are in China, France, Spain, India, and a handful of other locations. But it really depends on what you're looking for. So if you know that you are particularly looking for an internship in Latin America, we'll talk about that, and we'll see whether you want to be guided more by the industry that you're looking for or by the country that you want to go to, if there's a country, a language, a culture that you're interested in immersing yourself in. And I'll give you guidance as to where you can go to look for providers that can provide that type of experience. So it really depends. And a lot will also depend on the state of the global pandemic and when we can reopen our study abroad, our intern abroad in person. But here's hoping that we can do that by next summer.
Yes, fingers crossed. Thank you so much, Sarah. And as she's emphasizing, definitely utilize her as a resource in order to be able to do all of these amazing programs that we have here at Baruch. And I love that Betty plugged in our Seek newsletter for info about all of these opportunities, because that's a way that I've actually been able to learn about all the programs that we have at school. I was actually able to get my first internship through reading the newsletter and seeing that there was an opportunity there. And I was able to get it my freshman year. So I think I give a lot of props to this newsletter team who's always pushing for all those amazing opportunities. So if there aren't any other questions, I'm not sure. We have a little bit more time before we go into the second line of presenters. So should I start with the next round of presenters, or should I allow some time before we get into that?
Well, if there aren't any questions, we could certainly go on to the second lineup of the presenters.
Okay, perfect. So now we have another group of amazing presenters with us here today. So we're going to start with Jessica Keller, who is a senior manager for the U.S. campus recruitment at Eisner-Amper. Then we have Kevin Ludman, who's a campus recruiter at Eisner-Amper as well. We have Richard Mitten, who's the director for Study Abroad. We have Zena Joseph, who's an advisor at Study Abroad and also a proud Seek alumna. Next up, we have Elise Ehrman, who's the coordinator at the Office of Health and Wellness and PAWS. We also have Juan Camacho, who's a campus recruiter at Ernest and Young. And last but not least, we have Dolly Patel, who is a Baruch student representative for the Passport to Partnership program with Star Career Center. So now I'll pass it off to Kevin Ludman and Jessica Keller, who are recruiters for Eisner-Amper.
Great. Thank you so much for the warm introduction, and thank you all so much for having us today. My name is Kevin Ludeman, and I'm a campus recruiter at Eisner-Amper. Unfortunately, Jess had a conflict, so she's not able to attend today, but she sends her warm wishes, and I am so happy to be here with you. So we just thought that we'd give you a little bit of an overview about our company, and just so you are a little bit more familiar with who Eisner-Amper is. So in case you have never heard of us before, we are a mid-size accounting firm. So we're definitely not those small niche mom and pop top of accounting firms. And we're definitely not the big four either, which I know that we have EY speaking a little bit later. They're a great firm too. We're somewhere in the middle. So I like to think that it's all about finding your best fit. And I know that Goldilocks was looking for the porridge that was not too hot or not too cold. We're mid-size, so I think we're a perfect blend of each. So typically we're providing accounting services towards mid-size companies. Just wanted to give you a little bit of an overview of Eisner-Amper by the numbers. It's a really exciting time to be joining Eisner-Amper. In the last decade, we've actually increased our headcount by over 50%. And this year, we're going to be welcoming in 125 interns and 132 entry-level hires. Typically, when I'm talking to Baruch students, we tend to be really focused on staying in the New York City area, but we have operations all across the country too. And we have about 2,100 colleagues, including 200 plus partners, which is really exciting. So obviously we don't have so much time today, but we wanted to make sure that you know that we are all about having fun. We have very much a work hard, play hard type of attitude. So in the bottom left-hand corner, you can see a picture from our virtual orientation program. Typically, we welcome in our intern class and our staff one class. That's our term for entry-level hires in person. But obviously, given the global pandemic, we had to shift and adjust it towards being remote. You see us all smiling and laughing because we're having so much fun along the way too. So of course, we had plenty of games to play, including a bunch of Kahoots. We played this really fun game called Gartic Phone. If you've never played it before, I highly recommend. It's almost like a combination between Pictionary and telephone. And we just utilize breakout rooms just to make sure that we're able to build and draw in on those connections with one another. When we are in person, which hopefully will be very, very soon, as the pandemic appears towards coming towards a little bit of an end, we do a bunch of fun events in person too. So that picture is from our team back down in the Dallas, Texas office. They always do a Tough Mudder every single year. We have sporting teams and sporting wide events. We always go out for happy hours, make sure we're always going out to eat with our colleagues, and just really making sure that we're having fun, because that's such an important part of making sure that you're performing well at work too. Obviously, we have a very much packed agenda today. There's a lot of exciting things going on. So if you want to learn a little bit more about EisnerAmper, we would love for you to register for some of our virtual information sessions. So this is open to students of all majors, all class years, and some of our professionals on the line too. If you want to attend and learn more about the company, please feel free to do so. Our next event is going to be happening on May 4th, and we're going to be having a panel discussion on being a mid-sized firm, so what that means, and you'll have the opportunity to talk directly towards some of our client service professionals. So if you're interested in going into the world of accounting, it could be a really good opportunity to expand your network. We also have another event on June 8th, and we're calling this Partner with the Partners. So we're going to be utilizing breakout rooms, and some of our participants will have the opportunity to network directly with some of our partners at the firm. For those of you who are unfamiliar with partners, these are leaders of the firm too. So you can talk directly to EisnerAmper leadership and learn about the company from them. After we're done presenting, I'll make sure I put the link to register for these events on our website. But thank you so much for the time. I think the agenda seems to be pretty packed, so I'll hand it over to the next presenter, but really looking forward to answering any questions you might have about the company. And thank you again for having us.
Thank you so much, Kevin. Now we're going to pass it off to Richard Mitten and Zena Joseph, who's going to talk about study abroad.
So, okay, well, thank you very much. We're very pleased to be here. SEEK and the Study Abroad Office have a very long and productive history of working together, and it's something we want to continue. Zena will introduce herself when she comes on to speak, but I also had something else to introduce to you. As you can see, we have a new mascot for especially designed by our Office of Communications, Marketing, and Public Affairs Office. And you'll see this particular bearcat appear in our slide. We're very, very pleased to have this. And we're thinking about having a contest to name it. So if you think of a good name for this bearcat, who might be a traveling, a wandering, peripatetic, choose your adjective. We hope that it can help brand the Study Abroad Office. So we're going to talk to you a little bit about the, thank you for changing the slide. I was going to ask how we notify you to do that, but great. So what we're going to do is give you I'm going to give some general information about it, and then Zena's going to talk about her experience abroad. She's a two-time study abroad veteran, as well as being a SEEK alumna. And we're very pleased to have her in our office because she can participate in presentations like this. Well, the key to a successful study abroad experience, and it's important to distinguish between study abroad and travel, is planning, because everyone who studies abroad earns academic credit towards their degree. But in order to make sure that you do earn credit, you have to look at your overall plan for your academic career. You're at Baruch, and plan accordingly. We have a fairly comprehensive website. The URL is listed there. And we would strongly encourage anyone who's interested in thinking about studying abroad to sign up for a virtual information session. We have them 3 times a week, and they're virtual, so they're pretty easy to attend. But our website also has a lot of information about eligibility for study abroad, destinations to go abroad, and the kinds of programs that you can do. Now, it's a good idea to speak to your academic advisor about your plan, but do so early, because it's a good idea to think way ahead, because you have a lot of different courses to make, and not every course you might want to take for Baruch credit will necessarily be offered to the destination you want to go. But we have a lot of destinations. We've been sort of holed up for the past year. We had students abroad in the spring of 2020, at the time that the pandemic broke. And you might be interested in the statistics that In the spring of 2020, of all the students of the City University of New York who were abroad in the spring, 60% of them were from Baruch, which meant it was a big challenge getting everybody back and getting the courses, but it also gives you an idea of the scale of the study abroad operation at Baruch, and it's there to help students like yourselves study abroad, and to do so in any number of ways. As I said, Zena is a 2-time study abroad veteran. Many students study abroad more than once. We strongly encourage students to consider semester-long programs because they're immersive as well as cost-effective. Next slide. Okay, some of the general tips. Now, while I'm speaking, you can look at the photograph on the right and see if you can find Zena in the photograph, because I couldn't initially, and she had to point it out to me, but she is there. It's like what the game we used to call Where's Waldo, but now it's, well, I know that's a cultural reference that's probably died before you were born, but in any case, Betty remembers what I mean, right? So the issue for study abroad is you want to find courses that you can take abroad at foreign universities that are equivalent to courses that you need for your Baruch degree. And there are 2 basic rules that you should follow. And if you remember nothing else from my presentation today, remember these 2 things. If you have free electives, save them, because it gives you a lot of flexibility in getting courses approved when you study abroad. And for Zicklin majors, if you're planning to do a Zicklin major, there are a series of 5 courses that are called Zicklin core courses. Every business graduate has to take all 5 of them. You should save as many of those as you can, because many of our exchange partners have at least 1 and usually 2 or 3 courses that are taught that are equivalent. And the idea is, by saving them, is if you take them at Baruch, you don't have the opportunity to take them abroad for credit. But if you decide not to take them abroad for credit, you can always take them at Baruch, because they're always offered at Baruch. They're not always offered in every destination in every semester. Now, we offer programs from the January intersession through a full semester or even an academic year. And there are different types of programs. We promote our exchange programs. These are based upon bilateral agreements between Baruch and a foreign university. We promote these for a number of reasons. First of all, because they're cost effective. They're based upon mutual tuition waiver, which means for Sikh students, they don't cost you a penny of tuition, because your tuition is paid for. It's also the case that all of our exchange partners have English language programs. So you'll be taking your courses in English. I mean, if you know a foreign language and want to take courses in another language, that's fine. But you don't need to know any other language besides English to participate. But it means you're going to have an immersive academic as well as cultural experience. You'll be studying alongside students from those universities and not as an isolated group. Short-term programs, both in the winter and the summer. There are several other CUNY colleges. Baruch doesn't sponsor many short-term programs itself, but there are many other CUNY colleges that do. And there are also various what we call direct enrollment options. A third way is to use a sponsor to study abroad. These tend to be a bit more expensive than an exchange or a direct enrollment or a CUNY sponsored program, but they're available. And they will usually help you enroll in a foreign university or organize a center where they teach courses in English in an environment, in a country where the language instruction, the language is not, sorry about the noise. Scholarship opportunities. You've already heard from Valerie Hymas, and she didn't say this, but I will say it. One of the reasons that Baruch is so successful in winning Gilman Awards and Freeman is because of her. She is a huge asset to students, because if you want to think about going abroad, you're all eligible. Most are for the Gilman. If you're a U.S. citizen and have federal financial aid and plan, that's one thing you should do to plan early. But if you go to see Valerie Hymas, this will be a huge advantage to you. in the competition for scholarships, because we're very lucky to have her. And I mean, the proof speaks for itself in the number of award winners that we have. But the Weissman Center for International Business also administers its own scholarship. It's called the Stevie Star Study Abroad Fellowship. That every student who's approved for a semester-long program is eligible. There are other ones that you can apply for as well. Now, I don't know if anybody's found Zena yet, but if you haven't, she'll give you a clue because she's going to be on screen right now. I'd like to introduce our colleague, my colleague in the Study Abroad office, Zena Joseph, who has been with us, and she'll tell you where she studied, and she'll share her experience with you. So Zena, thank you. Next slide. Yeah.
Hi, everyone. As Dr. Mitten introduced, my name is Zena. I'm actually a Sikh alum. I recently graduated, and I also studied abroad twice during my academic career at Baruch. So hopefully you guys can hear me. So the two programs that I did, one of them was actually a Office of Special Programs program. So it was through the Office of Sikh and CD at CUNY Central, and they chose one student from each of the Sikh CD campuses pretty much. And we all got to go to Salzburg, Austria, which is very small. And if you know The Sound of Music, then that's where The Sound of Music was filmed. And we actually got to stay in the one of the manors, which is a giant castle pretty much, for the week that we were there. So it was a short-term program, so it kind of wet my feet in terms of study abroad. I knew that I wanted to study abroad from the beginning. I just didn't know like where to get started. And through Monica, who was my lovely Sikh advisor, she connected me with the opportunity, and through Betty and some other advisors, I submitted an application and I got to do the program. So that was my first experience. Then a few semesters later, 2 semesters, I believe, I actually studied abroad for the semester in Paris, France, at one of our exchange programs. And this is what really solidified my idea that I wanted to work in some type of international capacity. So I took, in terms of classes that I took, as Dr. Mitten mentioned, I took a elective course, which I saved knowing that I would take it. I took a minor and a major course, and I also took a Zicklin core course. So I planned as early as I could, pretty much as soon as I found out the study abroad was an option. I was planning which classes I wanted to take while I was abroad so that I didn't have to stress about it once that came around, which is the good thing about this whole entire presentation from everyone who's speaking. You're getting this information a lot earlier than a lot of the general public at Baruch, the student body at least, would get. And you're getting it in like a very good way. A lot of people are figuring this out through word of mouth, whereas you have a whole community here that is going to help you maximize your experience at Baruch in total. And study abroad is one of those great experiences that you can use to your benefit. And as a Sikh student, you are kind of a foot in the door in terms of being eligible to study abroad and getting there if you so choose. And you don't have to go for a semester. If you want to go for a short term, that is an option. So you don't have to. You have so many options in terms of the places you can go, when you can go, what experiences you want. So that's what on my experience itself. I don't want to take too much time. You guys can ask questions or email if you guys. I'm always available if you have questions about that or anything in general. So next slide. So Sarah was here. She spoke about work abroad. There's also volunteer abroad and the global certificate program, which she spoke about. So there's other international experiences that you can take advantage of. Study abroad is just one of them. And we are located on the same floor that Sarah is usually located, which is the eighth floor of the J Annex building right next to the library. So whenever we are back on campus, you can stop by there. I'll actually leave a link to sign up for the information session if you have. This is where you basically get all the actual information and the application portal login so that you can get started on that portion. So I'll leave the link in the chat once I'm done. And that's pretty much it. Thank you for giving us the opportunity to speak on this.
Next slide.
There you go.
Yeah, I mean, see the Bearcat, but exactly what the Bearcat's supposed to do. Bearcat has planned, packed, and is ready. And it's posed as a question here, but I would pose it as a strong recommendation that you join the Bearcat in studying abroad. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Richard and Zena. As I just want to echo, saving those elective credits for if you want to study abroad, that's something that I personally did, so that I've been like saving them through time so that by the time of hopefully next semester I can study abroad. So I just really wanted to echo that, especially since students are planning for their next semester next year. You know, Baruch is super early in getting you all to plan for your sophomore year. So definitely keep that in mind when you're registering for courses. So now I'm going to pass it off to Elise from the Office of Health and Wellness.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for having me as well. And yeah, that's exciting news, fantastic news. It's a great opportunity to be able to go out there and experience the world and requirements, academic requirements as well. And while you're here on campus, in person as well as remote, the Office of Health and Wellness is here to make sure that you have all of the services to attain a mental, spiritual, and physical health. And I'm going to share what our office provides for you. And the Office of Health and Wellness works with the 8 dimensions of the wellness wheel, and we use this to utilize the programs that we have. So physical health is not, standalone, and mental health is not standalone either. So we approach a holistic method in our programming to make sure that everybody is getting all the services and the knowledge they need. Next slide, please. Thank you. We work with peer mentors, and they're called the Peers Advocating for Wellness Services. And they are students just like you, and they act as the intermediary between the student body and the office. And we work together to brainstorm and to see what events that the student body needs. So for example, we have a virtual Bring the Virtual Balance program that has been adapted to a podcast. And the themes of this program deal with how to deal with stress, overcoming anxiety, how to declutter your mind, and also how to declutter your physical space. We also had a health disparities in the African American community program. And the reason why we did this is because the pause spoke that it's a very important topic and it's a subject that the student body needs. So we're always thinking about, the demand of the subjects that we approach. Next slide, please. So some of the things that we have worked on in person are do-it-yourself workshops, aromatherapy, public speaking, yoga, de-stressing, meditation, and mindfulness. And many of these programs have been adapted to virtual to the virtual degree. So we have a virtual chair yoga program. We actually have a live chair yoga program coming up next week on May 5th and May 4th and May 6th. And we have another event, COVID conversations on May 5th and May 11th. We have so many things that are happening, and we promote all this information via our newsletter. So if you would like to receive our newsletter, just shoot me an email. I'll put my email in the chat before I end, and we'll be able to stay connected. As I mentioned, our virtual programs, we've had guided meditation, chair yoga, check on it, which is the bring on the virtual balance, eye health, because, as we increase screen time, we realize that our eyes have been strained. So we had a program on that. All of this may be found in our past newsletters. Reach out to me. If there's any information that you want or you need, just reach out to me. I'll send it to you. Next slide, please. Resources on campus that we have are the following. We work with the Student Healthcare Center, and the Student Healthcare Center is here for you. It is open. It is working on a reduced schedule. So the physician assistant is there on Mondays and Thursdays from 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. If you want to make an appointment, you need to just call, schedule an appointment, and just follow the COVID-19 and social distancing protocol. If you have questions about insurance, if you have insurance or if you don't have insurance, if you want to change your insurance, anything whatsoever, you can speak with the healthcare navigators. You can reach out to me and I can connect you with the healthcare navigators. You have any questions on your health insurance status. We also work with REDS, who is the Substance Abuse Prevention Coordinator. We just did a program on the legalization of weeds and its effects on 420, and explained the difference between federal law versus state law. My philosophy in health in general is prevention. Prevention is the best medicine, and this goes to it falls into the other aspects of my belief as well. So preventing future problems would be knowledge. So the more you know, the less the probability of you to do something, unwise. And next slide. And we work with we have many resources, as I mentioned. We have worked with the counseling center in our programming. We work with student disability services. We just did a program on pet camp. And then we had Patricia Fleming as a guest presenter talking about the importance of support service animals. And we're always here thinking of ways to improve your experience at Baruch. Next slide. So please contact me. My email is elise.aramian@baruch.cuny.edu. I am at the moment the interim associate director for health and wellness, and Joy Allison is the interim director for new student and family programs. But you can reach out to both of us and we will get back to you. And we're here for you. If you have any questions, please. And also, if you want any programs that you'd like to see, something that is in your mind that you'd like to learn more about, please also reach out to me. And thank you for your time. You have my email there, so I don't need to write it in the chat. I look forward to hearing from everyone.
Thank you so much, Elise. So now I'm going to pass it on to Juan Camacho, who's going to speak about EY.
Perfect. Thanks, Lee. I appreciate it. And thanks for staying on video with all of the presenters. I feel like I'm not alone when we get to see other people on the video here. So hi, everyone. Juan Camacho here with the EY Campus Recruiting Team. Hope everybody's doing well. And first of all, just want to recognize and acknowledge that everybody here has been navigating a very intense last 13 months with this COVID experience. So appreciate you all having that mentality of wellness and that mentality of resilience, because that's extremely important. So kudos to all of you for having navigated this space. We can go on to the next slide here. I'd like to share with you just a little bit about our firm and who we are, right? So we are a global professional services company. We do not sell a particular product. As a matter of fact, our business is a people-focused business. We have clients and we serve them to support their businesses in a number of different ways. And I'll get to that in just a second. But as you can see here, all this great talk that we just had about study abroad, there's also opportunity to work abroad. As you can see, we have a global footprint, having a presence in over 150 countries, not really having closer to 300,000 people as a part of our organization, which when you think of one company having that many folks, it's quite many, it's crazy. And then revenue in the 30s of billions of dollars per year, which really just speaks to the size of our company. So I mentioned this and we share this global map because we love to always say that when you think about opportunities abroad, certainly similar to Baruch, we're in a waiting period. We are hopeful to bring this back in 2022. And if we do, we have an awesome experience that we call our Global Student Exchange Program, where select interns may be able to work abroad during half of their internship in the summer. We've had folks go from Rome to London to South Korea to Japan, Colombia, you name it. So don't think that a work abroad opportunity is exclusive for folks at senior levels of a company. They might also be possible for you. All right, so if we go to the next slide here, you're going to see how we break out our business. And mainly we have what we call 4 client-facing service lines. So you see here, assurance. If we go to the next one, consulting, the third one, which will be strategy and transactions, and the last one, which is going to be tax. Those of you who have aspirations of being future accountants, so accounting majors, you're going to be looking at that assurance, mainly audit and tax service lines. So a lot of the coursework that you may be looking into in the accounting practice there, in the future, you'll be able to implement it into these service lines, helping clients navigate their financial audits, as well as complex tax obligations. Now, for those of you who are not accounting majors, certainly our company is more than meets the eye. So we'll be considering you all who may be finance, who may be econ, who may be technology, and other business majors in between. We have our consulting and strategy and transaction lines, where you can be doing more client-facing business and helping them in consulting our clients in many different ways. So just know that there are many opportunities for you within the firm, certainly more than meets the eye, and we certainly encourage you to continue to get to know us, especially being more intentional with that going into your sophomore year, to getting to know our company and our people. We always have events mainly at the beginning of the semester. So think the fall semester between late August and late September, ample opportunities to connect with our folks, as well as early on in the spring semesters. Now, if you go to the next slide, please, I did want to share with you all, as we think about folks in that freshman, sophomore stage in those years, right? What opportunities might we have for you? Well, before we dive into maybe a client serving internship or entry-level opportunities way down the line, we do have opportunities for you to get to know more of our firm, get to know more of the culture of professional services and what that looks like, how that feels, and gain professional development along the way. So for those of you who are interested early on to get to know more about professional services, I would point you to our Expedition EY opportunity there. This is mainly catered towards freshmen and 5-year sophomores. So basically folks that are graduating December 2024 and beyond. If you can even think that far ahead as to your graduation timeline, we're going to be looking at you to join our Expedition EY program. And that's typically a program that will be held in the April and May timeframes of each year. So as a matter of fact, currently our first cohort of this program is underway. So for the following year, you may be looking to join our cohort to, again, get to know more about what professional services is. Here, either live or on-demand opportunities or professional development opportunities from some of our top leaders at the firm, discussing topics about the work that we do, as well as the impacts that we try to make in our community, and also other conversations from a diversity and inclusion context, which I think is important to many of us right now. So if that's an opportunity that you're interested in, certainly keep that in mind. What I'll tell you is that what's great about this program, it's really at your own pace. You're going to be able to do these options, again, live, to some of our live events, or do it on demand at your own pace. If you do these things on demand, the more that you do, the more points that you actually earn through our program. And these points can be redeemed for some awesome swag and other prizes, including scholarship dollars. For example, this year, we're fortunate enough to be able to share scholarships. I know that we'll at least be sharing 10 scholarships at the $10,000 range and 2 scholarships at the $25,000 range, just to name a few. So it's an amazing opportunity, professional development, have some fun with it, get some scholarship dollars. I think there's nothing more you could ask for. So that's, again, for folks graduating further away. Now, if we happen to have some folks that are graduating a little bit earlier than that. So think, for example, as early as August 2023, somebody maybe snuck into this call over here that's graduating at that time frame. We are considering folks for the launch internship opportunity. And so that's more of a full-fledged 7-week internship experience in the summer. You're going to gain some development along the way and direct exposure to at least one of our 3 main service lines, which are assurance, tax, or consulting. Again, that's going to be more hands-on professional development and client serving exposure, as well as being a part of some projects within different internship teams or intern teams. So great development for you as you think ahead to a potential career in professional services. Again, a full paid 7-week internship in the summer. We'll be looking for folks, and still are, as a matter of fact, until tomorrow, folks that are graduating before August of 2023. That's inclusive of 150 credits for the CPA, for those accounting majors out there. We're going to be looking at you to apply between now and tomorrow. Tomorrow is our final deadline. You can find that on the Star Search portal. And of course, you're going to be able to reach out to me after this if you have any questions on that. If you are graduating later on, so think maybe August of 2024 or May of 2024, no problem at all. We're going to have this conversation then in the fall semester so that we can get you into the application for a summer 2022 internship opportunity. But again, we have opportunities as early as now for many of you. So that is that call to action that you've been hearing here to stay proactive with your career search. Even this early on in the game, there are opportunities for you. And we really hope and encourage that you're taking full advantage of these options. Last slide, please, which really just has our contact information. Myself and my colleague, Jessica Hart, we are your campus recruiting team. We are more than happy to answer any questions that you have. It does not have to be related to EY opportunities. We are here to serve you and be supportive of your career navigation every step of the way. So feel free to reach out, leverage us, the recruiters, as a resource, the same way that you're leveraging the folks at Baruch as a resource as well. We're here to support. So with that, I appreciate the time that I had today to talk to you, and I'll go ahead and pass it back to Talia.
Thank you so much, Juan. And just to emphasize that there are many SEEK students who have been part of many of these programs. Jessica just said she's part of the launching program for Expedition, so that's amazing. But also there are many students in the SEEK community who have also done the launch internship. So really lean on, our community that we have here to continue aspiring your career goals, but also utilize Juan and his colleagues in order to, accelerate your career. So now I'm going to pass it on to our last presenter, Dali Patel.
Hi, everyone. My name is Dali, and I'm going to be talking about the Rising Star Sophomore and Passport to Passport program, so RSSP and P2P. I was a participant of this program in 2019 to 2020, so I know firsthand how helpful this program has been for career readiness, and I hope that you guys consider applying to these programs. So RSSP's and P2P's main goal is to make you career confident and career ready and help you develop the hard and soft skills needed to excel in your career. They offer many workshops to help you find answers to any career decisions that you might need to make. In these workshops, you learn many skills. I'm just going to name some of them. For example, you learn how to present yourself, you learn how to network, you learn how to make use of the networking and all the events that are going on at Baruch. You also learn how to do mock interviews and how to fix your resume and improve your resume, and so much more. I vividly remember the resume writing because it was just so helpful, and the mock interviews. We actually had RSSP alumni come in and interview the RSSP students at the time, and they would actually give you feedback as to what could be improved or what you did great and what you need to improve on. So that was just really helpful. In terms of, could you go back the slide? I'm so sorry. In terms of events, there are so many events that are happening at Baruch. I'm not sure if this has changed, but at my time, we had to do at least 3 professional events per month. And we know Baruch is business school, so there's just so many events going on. You can actually choose from events happening at Baruch or outside of Baruch. There's networking and there's luncheons and there's panels. There's just so many to choose from. So some of them are RSSP to P2P specific events, and they are, again, there to help you get career ready. Besides that, there's a lot of professional tools and techniques RSSP teaches you, and P2P too. Like I said, interviews, events, improving your LinkedIn and, maximizing it and utilizing it to its full extent. And overall, it's supposed to help you increase your confidence. I could definitely say, increase my confidence. I came into the program not knowing much, and I just didn't think I'd be a good enough business student, and I wasn't really good at networking. But coming out of the event program, definitely it's helped me, and it's helped me boost my confidence, and it's helped me, meet these amazing professionals who really just want to help you and help students. Next slide, please. So there are a few requirements for RSSP and P2P. So the first one is you need a minimum of a 3.0 GPA. For RSSP, you need to be graduating in 2024, but for P2P, it could be 2023 or 2024. To apply, you'll also need your resume, your unofficial transcript, and a personal statement. And you can apply to these 2 programs via Star Search. And Jennifer Rogers is the program manager. She's super amazing, super sweet. If you have any questions, just please email her. The email is on the presentation slide. So yeah, if there are any questions, just please email her. Thank you.
Thank you, Dolly. So now we're going to open up the floor to Q&A. So students, if you have questions, feel free to raise your hand or use the chat feature to ask any of your questions. Well, the first question that I remember from before was about study abroad, actually. It was about the step-by-step application process for students. So Richard or Zena, maybe if you both could tackle that question.
Okay, well, I'll start off. It's pretty straightforward. The first step, if you haven't already done so, is to sign up for a virtual information session. The virtual information session will give you a good overview of everything. And once you signed up for that, between the time you sign up and you attend, it's a good idea to take a look at our website, because that way you'll be able to familiarize yourself with a lot of things and maybe be able to ask more pointed questions. At the end of the virtual information session, we will take your Ample ID, and then we'll create an account for you in our application portal. And so the next step is in basically the semester before you plan to go abroad, you'll submit your Baruch application to study abroad. And then after that, we guide you through all the rest of the things you need. Now, one thing it's important to emphasize is if you plan to go abroad anytime in the near future, and your passport is near its expiration date, apply for a new one, because there's a long delay. And so you want to be in a position, they're usually good for like 10 years, so you don't have to worry. If it's close to being expired, you want to make sure you have your passport in hand, because it has to be valid for at least 6 months after the end of your program. So that's a good thing that you can do no matter what else you do. But the first step and the best step is to go to a virtual information.
Thank you so much.
Hi.
Yes, Hawa.
Hi, Ms. Hawa. I have a question. So like I noticed earlier you said something about taking classes during the study abroad, like some elective classes. But what if you want to study abroad during the summer? Do you still have to take classes?
Yes. Study abroad implies study. So everyone who studies abroad has to be enrolled to earn academic credit. The rule of thumb is that we want you to earn credit that will count toward your degree requirements, but it is not an absolute requirement, because many students study abroad and take a course, especially over the summer, that they're just interested in, and they just graduate with a few more credits than they need, even if it doesn't fulfill a specific degree requirement. But anyone who studies abroad has to take a course for academic.
And also to echo some of that, there's also other options that we've seen here today, like work abroad, which is another option if you didn't want to technically take courses, but maybe you wanted to maybe get some experience abroad, or even volunteering. So, you know, today we've had an information overload probably of all the resources that we have at Baruch, but there are so many ways that you can all go abroad and do something that you're passionate about.
Thank you.
Of course. Are there any other questions that the Baruch or state community has today?
Yeah, hello, my name is Clementina. I have a question for Juan. Yeah, so my question is, as you're talking a little bit more about your programs, I know that you mentioned the Expedition EY spring program that I think that you said the next application would be the spring of 2022. So as a freshman rising to sophomore, do you think I can apply for that one, for that program?
Hey, Clementina. So yeah, you're more than welcome to apply for that. And what we'll do is we'll consider your full candidacy, understand what your final graduation date is. And then from there, we'll see if either that program or the launch internship opportunity is going to make the most sense. So what I welcome you to do is feel free to follow up with me offline via email. Happy to work with you on that.
Okay, thank you so much. Thank you.
And I also want to emphasize that there are other ways that you could engage with any of the recruiters that are here, because I actually have seen Juan at Alpha events previously. So, you know, there are other ways that you could connect with EY, Eisner Amper, or many other companies that actually do come on campus. So really utilize clubs like NABA, Alpha. There are so many on campus. Those are the two that come to my mind, but those are other ways that you can also engage on campus.
And if I can, Talia, just to reemphasize your exact point right there, joining these different student organizations, that's going to be to your benefit in many ways, building that community within Baruch, getting to know different folks, opportunities for leadership. And as Talia mentioned, a lot of recruiters and teams partner with these student organizations directly to give you exposure or additional exposure to client-serving professionals and the work that we do, having these topics of conversation. So it is going to be in your best interest to be a part of these student orgs and be, in particular, an active member of these student orgs.
Yes, so we have one last question. One question is, how do you help students who go abroad adapt to a new environment? Do they have like a host family? This question can be answered by anyone who helps students go abroad, not just study abroad.
Well, we do help prepare students before they go abroad. We have pre-departure orientations, and we also encourage students to meet with advisors as often as possible, and also to contact past participants in these study abroad. Every semester, we host a study abroad fair. The last two have been virtual fairs. We're not sure what the fall semester study abroad fair is going to be like, but it indicates we will have a fair. And at those fairs, we have study abroad veterans who come and sit at tables or staff team channels, as the case was in the case of virtual fair. And we also have participants from our exchange partners who are studying at Baruch from those universities, available to answer all kinds of questions that you have. The specific question, follow-up about host families. There are opportunities to stay with host families, but not all of our exchange programs or study abroad programs offer them. There are also some of our exchange partners, as well as others, will have some dormitory-like accommodations, and others they assist students in obtaining accommodation on the private market.
Thank you.
Also, just on that point about getting to the countries, a lot of the places that Baruch students are going, there are other Baruch students going as well. So before you go, you can connect with those other students who are going to the same location as you. I did that, and you have friends before you get there, or you can be the complete opposite and go without knowing anyone and make friends once you get there. And you always have contacts with us if you need anything while you're abroad. Just contact us, and we're always an open line of communication.
So as you can all tell, you have a lot of support here at Baruch. So now thank you everyone, all the participants for your participation in our event today. I'm going to pass the mic to our SEEK Deputy Director, Betty, for closing remarks.
Well, thank you, Talia, for doing such a wonderful job. I love the added commentary and the way you related to some of your experiences. Thank you to Christina Cosme, who's going to hear from a little bit, for coordinating the event, and Mel Saul, who's always on the background doing the work. The presenters, Sarah, Valerie, Janet, thank you for partnering with us over the years. Our external partners, Kevin and Juan, thank you. Richard and Zena, yes, we do have that long-standing relationship with Study Abroad, and Elise and Dolly for joining in. Thank you so much. What I'd like to share very briefly are some questions I'd like the students to think about. And the question is actually related to LinkedIn, and that's one of the questions the first question that I have for you is that, one, do you have an account? The interesting story is that Talia and I, of course, often saw each other in the SEEK office, and I was thinking about her for the past couple of weeks, and lo and behold, as I was on LinkedIn one day, I saw a posting that she did, and I said, wow, I haven't seen her in a whole year. So that's how we reconnected since we've been virtually learning and working. So my first question is, do you have a LinkedIn account, and are you using it actively? But even prior to that, the Star Career Center, Juan said that the opportunities that they offer, whether it's, I'm sure, Eisner Amp or EY, they often post in the Star Career Center's website. So are you actively searching for opportunities through that website? My next question is thinking about which program are you going to offer, or are you going to explore further? Valerie, I think, put it very well, because when she talked about expanding your personal and professional development, that's the purpose of why we host this event. The opportunity for you to expand professionally, personally, and also work on your leadership skills. That's the benefit of joining organizations that were mentioned earlier, whether it's NABA, Alpha, or any of the, particularly the professional development organizations. It gives you that special leg up in terms of having the language of the profession you're thinking about, exposing you to potential mentors. We heard from Janet about the benefits of mentoring that can make a difference in your future career. So that's one of the reasons, among many, you need to really think about joining a professional association. So the next question is, who will you reach out to in this panel? I mean, Christina spent a lot of time working to put this together among other staff of the program, but with the goal of you hopefully reaching out to someone. You have so much resources. Zena reminded us that, part of the benefits of the SEEK community is that you're receiving this information so early. And I must share with you, I'm a Baruch alumna myself, but I was not in SEEK. I certainly did not receive this type of information as early as you were receiving it. The next question that I have for you is thinking about after you reach out, you are part of this program. Are you going to reach out to come back, as Christina has been doing, as Talia is supporting the program, and also as Zena has been doing, as we know, through our alumni network. So it has been a pleasure, and I'm looking forward to seeing you. I hope you use those resources, and I will talk to you soon. I will now turn it over to Christina, who's going to share some final words.
Alrighty, everyone. Thank you so much, everyone, for attending. Thank you to our host, Talia. You did an amazing job. Thank you to our guest speakers. Thank you all for attending. And I want to urge everyone to take advantage of these opportunities. Get involved on campus and also get involved outside of campus. And also keep in mind at least 3 opportunities that you want to follow up with and do further more research with. And also, if you have any questions, remember to email them. A lot of the emails are in the chat. And yeah, I hope you all have an amazing semester. Towards the end, on May 7th, we have the SEEK Award ceremony. So I encourage you all to register. I'm going to leave it in the chat. Please attend. It's going to be an amazing event. But yeah, with that being said, thank you, everyone. And I hope you all have the best rest of the semester and good luck with finals. Thank you. Thank you, everybody.